All right, so YouTube tells me that we are live. So throw in the chat if you can hear me, if the audio's good, if the video looks good. I want to hear about it. So let me know. And I will just wait around here and filibuster until I see something in the chat telling me that top chat, live chat. Cool. All right, we are good to go. Nice. So you are joining me about 15 minutes after I've woken up. It was a late night last night, and I just woke up and I was like, you know what? Let's just stream. And my wife said, she said, they're not going to see you, right? I said, no. She's like, good, because you look like a mess. So yeah, I got a real deep morning voice at the moment. So I threw some tea on and I was like, let's just stream. My brain's not ready. Nothing's ready. But I figured, by the end of this stream, we'll be rolling. My morning voice will be gone. The tea will have hit my brain. And hopefully I'll be thinking more clearly and not just rambling on. Magnus, hey man. Muzafar, cool. Good to see you guys. Haas, nice. And Moro, is that how you say it? How's it going? So there will be momentary breaks for tea sipping. It's going to happen. Hello from Pakistan. Nice. Good to see you. Yeah, if you're hanging out here, say so in the chat. I love to say hi. Ali, I'm pretty bad with name pronunciations, especially when I stream this early. It's mostly like maybe East Coast people in the US, but mostly people from Europe and West and East of Europe. Hey Cal. There's one person in my life that calls me Cal. My wife's like grandma's brother. He calls me Cal. Cal. How do you manage your schedule, or do you tend to choose what you want to do? I do whatever the hell I want to do. With so many open source projects, I try to establish a cadence. Ultimately, I don't have an official schedule, but on every other Friday, I have a meeting about Livewire and Alpine alternating. So I generally try to get stuff in order for those meetings. I keep them in mind, I'm going to be meeting with these people. I should get stuff done that we talked about getting done. I also do a lot of client calls with high-paying sponsors or just people who pay me to do consulting, and it's usually Livewire consulting. So that pushes me to work on that project, and a lot of times I work on the project on the call. And then the VS Code stuff, I have a morning checklist, things that I need to do every morning to make progress on it. So anyway, I try to keep on top of things. Oh, and every other week I try to finish the Surge screencasts, and I failed yesterday. I got it almost done, but I got hung up on the last one and whatever. So yeah, when new release of Livewire? For form file uploading and the bug fix. So I want to do that stat, but the form file uploading, I don't think I'm going to include that with this next release. So I'm not sure about the form file uploading, but the bug fixes I want to get out soon for sure. Hey Caleb, great work, man. Keep up the good work. Hello from Pakistan. Wow, a couple Pakistanis on the call right now. Nice. Do you have much consulting freelance work? Yes, I have a decent amount. I've been making it less and less because I don't have as much time for it. Duncan, how's it going? So, I do quite a bit of paid calls, but from Glasgow. Nice, Glasgow. 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 Yeah, okay. Yep, thanks for the help. Always appreciate helpful pronunciation tips in the chat. Great. So I'm thinking we start with Alpine this morning. There's one PR I want to knock out in particular, and then there's also a Livewire release that I would love to get put out there, but both of them, I don't know. We're going to see what happens. Pretty busy. I do feel pretty busy. I think I need to get done with this VS Code course thing so I can not be as busy. Yeah, I got mine too. Muzafar. I don't know if that helps me. Muzafar. But thank you. Anyway, all right. So, I did it perfect. Great. So there is Mr. Adam Wathen messaged me yesterday about two issues that he was hitting in Alpine, and so I think I'd like to address those, And the first one is this PR. So it's funny because he mentioned me about this issue, and I was like, I think I saw something about this. And literally earlier that day, Hugo had submitted a pull request for it. And he messaged me on Twitter when I posted this streaming thing. I don't think he's on this stream, but he said the PR is all, yep, enjoy. That attribute removal PR is ready for you. So I think Hugo cannot make it, but he is telling us to enjoy, and he has the PR for us. So I want to basically understand this problem and pull down the PR and make sure that we're doing the right thing. So the gist of the PR is that I think Adam might have the most clear demonstration of, yeah. So basically, so here Adam wrote div : don't do anything too awesome, says Haas. He's going to be back in 10 minutes. Adam says, regarding the Boolean stuff, whatever. So basically, when you bind an attribute in Alpine and you set it to a Boolean, what would you expect to happen? Like if it's turd sandwich, would you expect turd sandwich to be here when it's true? I would, of course, and it is that way. But what if it is false? Then what shows up? Nothing. And a string, it should show up that string. So right now, Alpine does not do this. Alpine does not remove an attribute ever, I believe. So I don't think it removes an attribute when the attribute value is set to false. So we started weighing in on things, and let's see if we have any more updates from anybody. But so I think there were some things going back and forth, and basically my question was, how does Vue.js handle this? Hello, I was going to say hello, Pop, because he said hello, son. Hey, Adam. Thank you for joining, Adam Wathman. I'm just catching up on this issue and trying to wrap my head around it, because I mean, I like what you have, and this seems the most sensible to me. Like, is there anything beyond this? I guess the only difference is, I think, basically my starting point for things like this is, how does Vue do it? And I usually start by like Vue CodePen so that I don't have to add Vue myself. Oh no, simple Vue.js example. That's the one that I would start with, not Vue on CodePen. It's more work to do it this way. The only other thing I would consider is handling empty strings. And how would you handle empty strings, Mr. Adam? All right. Right now, Alpine converts data foo to just data foo. Okay, and you're saying that you would want it to remain an empty string, right? Like value equals empty string for like an option tag or something. Yeah. But empty string is totally valid and needed for some ARIA attributes. Yeah, okay. All right, well, I guess, yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing I would love, like a big chart for, of like when this, then that. And that's what we're going to do, I guess. We should build up a test suite that tests for all those different cases. But I'm not, which is actually, this is like a super easy thing to test, which is great. But I'm not exactly sure what Hugo has done already. And look at that. He has some stuff going on here. A lot of to be nulls. So that seems like we might need to add some testing around this that doesn't exist right now, because he's got a lot of, yeah. So he's just testing if the value of the attribute is null. Non-Boolean attributes set to null, undefined, false are removed from the element. So he gets attribute and it is null. Okay. So that looks good, actually. Non-Boolean HTML attributes, I like that. That's perfect. And then the other test is Boolean attributes are set to false. Boolean attributes set to false are removed from element. Interesting. Boolean attributes set to false are removed from element. I thought that there was different behavior, that it was like they're not removed from the element, they're just set to off. But these are now all removed from the element, where I guess maybe that's what we're doing. Is that what we decided? I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to do this in Vue.js, and we're going to see how Vue handles this case. So let's get maybe a couple different, I guess we can just do this all inline. So we have input type value. Okay, let's do like, I don't know, input type text, and yeah. And then we'll have disabled, whoops, stupid rocket. Disabled is equal to, let's see what happens if disabled is equal to true, because this is a Boolean attribute. And when I say Boolean attribute, I mean an attribute that's intended to be like Boolean basically, but I guess I don't mean that I'm binding a Boolean value or a Boolean property to an attribute. I mean, it's actually designated as a Boolean attribute. So Boolean HTML attributes, MDN has a list of these. That's like, these are things, yeah, required, read-only, disabled, stuff like that. So we maintain an internal list on Alpine, in Alpine's code base, of all the Boolean attributes, and we have a little method, I think it's in the utils, that's like, is Boolean attribute. So let's see if it's here. Is Boolean atcher. And that is, yeah, as per HTML spec table, here are all the Boolean attributes: disabled, checked, required, read-only, hidden, open, selected, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So, so my question is, I basically just want to start making Vue.js do things and poking at it and seeing what the Vue.js decision tree is. And I know that people in this PR have already done this, but again, it's this is actually just easier for me to kind of explore myself a little bit, because it's hard to know exactly what everybody is saying. And I need to make some decisions for myself here too. So let's see what input disabled :true is set to. Nothing. Is Vue working? Did I do something wrong? ID container, data value. I don't know. V model equals foo. Put in the chat if you saw me do something wrong. Span v text foo. And let's see this happen. All right, so Vue is working. And if I set :disabled to false, that's surprising. Oh, maybe it just, I don't know. So :disabled, false. And now if I take a look at this input element, it's just :disabled. What did I do? :disabled, false. Wait, see what happens. Take a look at the input tag, and we have disabled equals false. That's pretty interesting. So what if I say like foo? What if I say foo is equal to bar as a string? I should see foo to bar. That's what I would expect to see. Huh, what am I doing wrong? vbind instead of colon? Is that like messing with me somehow? vbind foo set to bar. You would think that this would work. What in the world? Does anybody have any idea? vbind value equals foo. And then let's make foo equal to hey, hey. Using Vue version 0. Yeah, really? Am I? Yeah, I am. Holy crap. What in the world? Wow. All right, unpackage.com/Vue. Is that going to work? That's really funny. Yeah, that seems about right. Okay, now we look at, let's go back to where we were here and see what's going on here. vbind disabled, and this is going to be false, and I want to see what happens here. And now we have an actual version of Vue. That's really funny. Okay, that's it. So when we set an attribute like disabled to false, it disappears. And disabled is registered as a Boolean attribute. So that's how Vue is handling this. So let's see what happens when we set disabled to empty string. And take a look at that. We have disabled equals disabled. That's interesting. So if it's a string, no matter what, even if it's a falsy string, it's going to set it to this. So if I say, what happens if I say string hey, hey? In Hugo's PR, thank you for looking at Hugo's PR. I love people helping me out here. That is really helpful. Maybe use a version of Vue that isn't 600 years old. In Hugo's PR, if an attribute's bound value is null, undefined, or false, remove the attribute. Yes, I saw that, and that's great. I guess I wanted to make sure that it looks like Hugo's also doing the same thing for Boolean attributes, and I want to make sure that Vue treats those the same way, and I want to get some empty string juice in there so we can add that to the test before we crack this open. Okay, so if we say hey, 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 then we look at the input tag. What do we see? That's what I would expect to see, right? Yeah, because if it's true, then it's disabled, disabled, and a truthy value is anything, even a string, which is fascinating. So, but if I do like foo, this is going to be hey, hey, okay? And now if I inspect this bad boy, we have foo, hey, hey. Yep, exactly. So what happens if I do an empty string on a non-Boolean value? Okay, let us see. We have an empty string on a non-Boolean value, and it doesn't do foo equals empty string. So Adam, what is the aria attribute? Let me scroll up. Maybe he posted what the exact aria attribute that he was looking for. So like data foo, right now Alpine converts data foo to just data foo. So if you have data foo equals, and now you're interesting that this is bound. Let's see. All right, come on. Where did the input go? What did I do? Find to not need empty string. Okay, allow null value of aria active descent when element does not have DOM focus. So what is Adam showing me here? Is he just showing me a specific, maybe showing me this specific attribute that I was asking about? All right, it is common practice in creating widgets to use aria active descent to set aria active descent equal to empty string until the component gets DOM focus. This is currently not allowed by the spec, as aria active descent needs to be an ID ref. What is an ID ref? I'm not sure. Aria active descent is only relevant when the component has DOM focus, as much as I propose that we allow an undefined value when the component does not have focus. I prefer this to the alternative developers adding the attribute and its value the first time it gets focus, and it gives an easy way to browse DOM. I don't understand. But maybe he's just pointing me to this as an example of a time where he needed that. So vbind aria active descendant empty string. So we're vbinding, maybe that's the problem, is we're vbinding to nothing. So realistically, you would be binding to an empty string, and then the question is, what happens when you bind to an empty string? And the answer is, it does not show this. And I imagine that's sort of what you're after. So like, what if we remove the vbind entirely and have aria active descendant, and just like, so we're not doing any Vue binding. Vue is still processing this bit of DOM, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so that's that. Let's see if we take this outside of Vue.js, and I want to see what Chrome does with it. So we have two inputs, and I'm looking at the top one, and it looks like Chrome removes that equals empty string. So do we have to deal with that case? So let me make sure what Adam said that Vue does. He said that, okay, but empty string is totally valid and needed for some attributes. Right now, Alpine converts data. So Adam, I'm seeing that the browser converts data foo equals empty string to just data foo. You know what I'm saying? So if I do like data foo, and then we look at it in the browser, it just says data foo. And if I get this, element and I do dataset.foo, it gives me an empty string. And if I do get attribute data foo, I also get an empty string, and that's just browser stuff. I believe it's fine to also remove that attribute entirely, which is what I wanted to do originally. Adam, I hope you're fine with me pulling up your Telegram. It's fine to remove that attribute entirely, which is what I don't have a separate monitor. But since Alpine didn't support that yesterday, I went looking for other valid things I could do with empty string. Needed is wrong word. Interesting. What is the browser seems fine then? Yep. So the browser does it. Alpine does it. That's good. So that's the case of the empty string, and that's good, which is, I wonder what JS DOM will do when we test for this, but we can also just test in the browser and make sure. Let me catch up on some chat here. So, all right. Am I the only one who uses dark theme on DevTools? Never seen anyone use it. That's a great idea. That might actually be pretty. Maybe I'll do that. Hello, everybody. Hey, Ryan. Right. In ARIA world, ID reference is a huge thing. Screen readers watch ARIA attributes. Some of the ARIA attributes requires empty string. Interesting. Okay. Hey, Ryan Chandler. Hey, Haz. Hey, yeah. We're all saying hi. Screen reader thing. Okay. Hey, Adrian. I guess I still don't understand what the ID ref thing is, but whatever. ARIA or ARIA. That's what I said, right? Or ARIA. Okay, click the settings and switch it would definitely help when live streaming. All right, I'm going to do it just for fun. Settings, and I don't see it. What am I missing? This is settings, right? These settings you're saying. And then if we say dark, ID thing is at ARIA active descent, and there's normally an ID of the selected item. Okay, so it's a way of linking two things, like an ARIA thing to another element. In a custom select menu, got it. But if nothing is selected, you should either remove the attribute or use an empty string. Okay. All right, we're rocking that dark mode on the DevTools. I think I like that. I think I like it even in light mode. I think this is a good move. Thank you. Okay, so I think we've done our research. And basically what I'm coming to is we don't really treat Boolean. The only thing we do differently with Boolean attributes is if they are set to anything truthy, including a string, then they will be their own thing. So what I mean is if it's disabled, if we bind disabled to false, disabled is gone. If we bind disabled to empty string or anything above false, anything truthy that's not undefined, null, or false, it is going to be disabled equals disabled. If I even say disabled equals hey, it's going to be disabled equals disabled. So that's what we need out of the behavior. Put in the chat if you think I'm wrong or have missed something. That is helpful to me. And it is also helpful to me when more people understand this pull request. I'm going to link it right here. Can I speak here? Can I say a chat thing? You'd think that I would be able to do that in that little mini chat thing, but here we go. Okay, so that is the pull request. I appreciate all the brains that I can get on that to make sure that I'm not missing anything when I go ahead and pull this down and massage it a little bit. All right, so let's pull down the pull request and make sure that this thing is good, and maybe do some refactoring and make sure our test suite is good. Yeah, let's do that. So we're in Alpine. We are going to check out this branch, hub PR checkout 486. Thank you to Hugo, who is not with us right now, for this PR. Big help. Okay, so we checked out the PR, and let's get a build going because I imagine we're going to be changing some things. So, all right. Hugo is busy working. Psh, what a chump. Who works? Okay. So we have our build going. I'm going to do a jest run, and then I'm going to open up the diff of the PR to take a look at the specific changes. So we added documentation, xbind attribute removal rule for null, undefined, false values. I almost feel like this is something we just don't need to talk about. Tell me in the chat if you think that this is even necessary, because I feel like what we're doing is basically I just made the attributes do what I thought was logical, but now we're realizing that there's cases where that's not the case, and we should just mirror Vue.js. And I feel like bringing up the behavior to Vue.js parity makes a block like this unnecessary, but I am curious what your thoughts are. So throw in the chat if you think that this should be documented. Let's read it really quick. So for attributes that aren't standard Boolean values per the HTML spec, it is still possible to mark the attribute for removal when it gets passed for attribute value that aren't standard, right? Okay, this is in contrast to the regular behavior where the attribute is set to the string representation of the value it's bound to, even other falsy values. For example, bind href enabled link and null. This will completely remove the href attribute when enabled is false. Yep, is false, but set it to the value link when enabled is true. Yeah, I feel like this is something that we may just skip in the docs, but I want to hear from you. So please put in the chat if you think this is worth keeping in the docs as a note. And I will keep an eye on that. It's an expected behavior. Yeah, I think that's true. So let's go into the README and kill that unless somebody tells me, stop. Yeah, I agree. So vbind, where are we here? Xbind, Xbind. Okay, so Xbind for class attributes, Xbind for Boolean attributes, Xbind attribute removal here. We're going to get rid of that. We might have to change what we've said for Xbind Boolean attributes. Don't be that guy, Liam. I don't think people should have to have knowledge of how Vue works to know how Alpine works. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think as Alpine matures, it's going to be less of just people who know Vue already, just using Vue with an X hyphen. So I think you're right, but I still think that this is the kind of thing. Yeah, I thought a similar thing, but I thought that that it's almost like the intuitive behavior. Because we already have a section for Boolean attributes. So Xbind supports Boolean attributes in the same way that value attributes supports Boolean, in the same way that value attributes using a variable as the condition or any JavaScript. I think this English is bad. Xbind supports Boolean attributes in the same way as value attributes, using a variable as the condition or any JavaScript expression that resolves to true or false. For example, disabled click me. This will add or remove the disabled attribute when my var is true or false. Boolean attributes are supported. For example, basically what we should be doing, I'll say resolves to, and this is going to be, okay, so we're going to say, for example, when, okay, yeah, what's the best way to do this? I think we should put this in triple ticks and do something like this. So for example, given when my var is equal to true, and we'll just do the true and the false here, then this is going to be disabled is disabled. Yeah. Then disabled, and I should actually do this because I don't think it would matter too much, but it really would be a loose truthy falsy check. Then disabled is going to disappear, right? Yeah. So this will add or remove the disabled attribute when the my var is true or false respectively. Boolean attributes are supported per the HTML spec, for example, disabled, etc. Okay. Good. I'm happy with that docs change. Why English no good? That's a great question. Fail English? I did not, but I was never good at it, to be honest. That's impossible. Very nice. HTML for syntax highlighting. Hell yeah. Thank you. I just saw on Twitter, somebody posted that James Brooks made this possible at some point in GitHub. How cool is that? I was really pumped about that. I've never done that, and I've wanted to do that. That's so great. Oh, that is great. That makes that makes Gitdown, that little package I wrote for using GitHub to parse your markdown, like the only good way to get blade syntax highlighting, if I am thinking correctly. All right, but PHP is broken AF. That sucks. Sure, you want the string when inside the code block without commenting? Oh, Not sure. Yeah, that sucks. You're right though. I mean, what? Should it be this? Yeah, it should be this, right? It'd be nice if it was just the double slash, but that's not, that wouldn't get highlighted well. Yeah. Yeppa. All right, but PHP is broken AF. Quick question, is disabled equals disabled needed? I usually just do disabled. Got me thinking now. I'll say no. I do just disabled and just selected and things like that. But as far as what I want to be explicit about what Alpine is going to do, and this is what it's going to do, so I'm putting that. This is proper. But there's also blade. Yes, Adrian. Well, strictly speaking, it's HTML, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. All right, so I think we're good on the documentation massaging of this PR. And we might as well just be good about this and say update docs and just include our README updates and push that. All our tests passed, by the way, which is great. Okay. And now we're going to get our little refresh button. Okay. And yep. Great. This will add or remove the disabled attributes. Okay. So now we have, this is the actual sauce here. But we're going to make sure that our tests are what we want them to be, and then we'll work backwards on this. But maybe we can pull this up. So bind.js. This is where, this is my, remember that beautiful line of conditions. Yep. So this is the is Boolean attribute, and then this is just a regular attribute. These are the two little chunks that we care about. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. And now we have our tests to worry about. So let's go to the bind spec, and let's see what we got going on here. Well, strictly speaking, yeah, okay, nobody said anything. So non-Boolean attributes, let's start with that. Non-Boolean attributes are set to null, undefined. Non-Boolean attributes set to null, undefined. What do we do? Part of me is tempted to have like two tests. One's like non-Boolean, or one's like Boolean attributes. Boolean attributes truthy values are set to the name of the Boolean attribute. Like I kind of want that. Boolean attributes set to, let's say this, truthy Boolean attributes. Truthy Boolean attributes, attribute values are set to their name, and falsy, is it truthy? Like, because when you do when I do expect ingest, when I do expect to be falsy, like if this is, okay, there is no E. What am I thinking? All right, truthy Boolean attribute values. Truthy Boolean attribute values are set to their name, and falsy ones are removed. This is the test that I want for Boolean attributes. So let's get this test where we want, and then this other test is going to be for general attributes, and then we'll worry about that in a second. Falsy, yeah, truthy, truthiness. Yep, thanks guys. All right, so we have is set to false initially, and then what are we doing? We're asserting a bunch of stuff, and then Boolean attributes set, okay. And then we have this separate test. I feel like we can do it all in this test, but yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess it's easier, more explicit to break it out. Truthy Boolean attribute values are set to their name. Falsy ones are removed. So this will be Boolean attributes set to true. Did I totally reverse this? Yeah, I did. I would think truthy goes first. So let's do that. Truthy is first. Okay. Falsy is second. This is the truthy name. So truthy name goes here. Truthy Boolean attribute values are set to their name. And let's say falsy Boolean attribute values, except empty string. So really it shouldn't say falsy, it should say null, undefined, or false Boolean attribute values are removed. That's what we want. Okay, so let's start with the truthy test. So the truth test is truthy Boolean attribute values are set to their attribute name, their name, yeah, okay. Set to their attribute name. So we have all these Boolean attribute values here, and this is all of them actually, which may not be necessary, but it's thorough. So we're binding this all to isSet, which is set to true. We also want to test like an empty string, you know? So I almost feel like part of me does not like this exhaustive list, but it is, because this, yeah, And I don't know, because, yeah, what do we do? Let's at least make sure that this is what we want. What we want this to say is query selector all disabled, and let's see what actually happens. How about 0 and NaN? That's a good question. I don't know about that. That the 0 one I'd be pretty interested in knowing. So let's but continuing on here, I want to see what the browser does when we have disabled. So if disabled is set to disabled. So what if we literally take a normal HTML tag and we say disabled, normal input tag, disabled is disabled, and now we dev tool it. I want to see what the browser would say is the value of disabled. So if we have dot disabled, it's true. Okay. Okay, because all of these can be, yeah, I almost feel like, because this is all like programmatic assertions, I'm trying to think what the best assertion strategy is, because we could literally assert like outer HTML, you know, like we could literally assert that the attribute string matches what we sort of described, which is maybe a better, can't you just use a data set? Yeah, I could, but barring a data set strategy, I'm wondering if like a better assertion here is something like this. So this would be query selector all dot outer HTML to equal input type. Yeah, this is the problem, is that I'd have to hard code all of this stuff, and that just would get nasty, which brings me to, can I just do like a couple of these? But basically I would want to do this. And I bet there's like a to contain. Just string contains. Let's see if there's like a nice string containing string. Yeah, expect string containing. Can use console log this. Also, wouldn't hard coding require the same order? Motec, yeah, that's a good question. Also, wouldn't hard coding require the same order? I don't know what that means necessarily. So let's just try this really quick. Outer string containing. I'm not getting autocomplete on this, so I'm wondering if like my version of Jest or something doesn't support this. I think it's yelling at me about that. Unless, yeah, I missed, okay. So let's see, Jest bind -t and stick this whole thing in here. Do. Now let's see, we get a failure because string containing is not a function. Huh. All right, to be truthy, and then this would be yuck, because because this is where I would do like literally do this and then dot. I don't know what it is on a string. What happened there? Why did that open in a new? Weird. But yeah, so it'd be like hey dot includes hey, yeah. So like that kind of thing. Yeah. What do we do here? Do we just stick with the truthy thing? Yeah, we're just gonna stick with that because I don't want to. This is so tough. This one's tough, but at the end of the day, this is what matters, right? Is that disabled is truthy, like that the attribute is truthy. That's what I'm trying to figure out if what matters. But let's keep moving. Null, undefined, or false Boolean values are removed, and we want to make sure that the get attribute is null, and this is perfect. That's exactly what we want. So these tests are good. And then let's make sure that our other test is good. So non-Boolean attributes set to null, undefined, false are removed from element. And that's what we want to do. Yep. And then we also want class attribute bindings are synced by string syntax. No, so non-Boolean attributes null are removed from element. And let's do an explicit test that's specifically for the empty string case, because I think that's a good case. So non-Boolean empty string attributes are truthy, are not removed. So what we want to do now is x bind something like href. Yeah, let's do that. X bind href set to an empty string. And now we expect that if we get the href attribute, we want it to equal an empty string, right? So let's do this. Yeah. And let's see if that passes. Oh, maybe that's what it is, that expectation. Thank you. All right, so that passes, and I got one more test where I want to do that empty string on the non-Boolean attribute, and then I'll feel confident that we can, that this is what we want. And I think Hugo's got it down here. I think this is good. I imagine you are all talking about the cases of odd stuff like an empty array, and we might as well pull that up in CodePen and see how Vue.js handles that. So non-Boolean. So let's say this will be Boolean empty string attributes are not removed, and so this is going to be disabled. Let's make this an input. So xbind disabled, and we want to make sure that disabled is equal to true, right? Or disabled, yeah, that's what we want. So Boolean empty string attributes are not removed, so let's do that and make sure that that passes. So Ryan and Motek, you guys that are hashing out those extra things, maybe put a summary of what you're talking about so I don't have to catch up in the chat. Like maybe put a summary of what you want me to know right now. So this is interesting. So Alpine is handling this in an interesting way, where this should be true. So let's look at the code and see if the code reflects that. Yeah, so the code does not have the same. We want the exact same type check here. It's like if Boolean attribute, yeah, no, wait, yes, hold on. So is this the same thing? Set attribute. If it's true, set the attribute not to empty string, but the attribute name. Otherwise, remove attribute. So we want to do this. Yep. And then this is the difference here. So there is probably a better way of structuring this logic. In the case of view, all right, so Ryan is updating me. We're talking about, is empty array falsy or truthy? Should 0 and NBN consider falsy, remove the attribute alongside an empty array? In the case of view, if you did xbind disabled equals test, where test is an empty array, the disabled attribute is present. So view takes empty array as truthy. Okay, and our logic is also going to take empty array as truthy, because what we define as truthy is anything that's not null, undefined, or false, which I think is good. I think that's good. I do. All right, now let's rerun that test and see if that passes now that we updated this, and then we'll do our final check in the browser. Okay, test pass. Let's make sure that all the tests pass. Make sure that all the tests pass. And then we're gonna test this out in the browser. Okay, great. Tests are passing, and one final check inside the browser, and then maybe we refactor this or not. I don't know. I like the fact the whole Boolean check is kind of separate. It's a little verbose, like we don't have to do this because these are shared. Like we could just do the Boolean check, and then inside here we could do the Boolean check inside here, you know, which might be a better way of structuring it. You know, not ideal, but yeah, I think it's better. Yeah, let's do it. So basically what we want to do is have a check inside of here that says basically if it is a Boolean attribute. So let's do this. If it is a Boolean attribute, then we want to set attribute. Well, we want a ternary to execute the different. I know that this might not be like chill, but I like it kinda. So we'll see if the test still pass, but that's a little bit less verbose. Rerun our tests and see if that works. And yeah. How do you guys feel about using ternaries for non-return things, but just as like a short if else, you know, like a one line if else? And we have a failure. Okay, so get attribute. We expect it to be null, but we received disabled. Null, undefined, or false Boolean attributes values are removed. So, oh, yeah, this needs to be. Yeah. Wait a second. So I'm crossing my wires here. What did I do? Yeah, I'm doing bad things. The things I'm doing are bad. Right, so if is Boolean attribute, set it to attribute name. Otherwise, set it to the value. If it is true. So this is if it's falsy. So again, we need this. If it's falsy, remove attribute. If not, change your strategy. Yep, that's our logic. Yes. What Ryan is saying is what I agree with. So, whoops. All right, so hopefully those tests pass. Looks like they did not. Key down with key modifier debounce. All right, I think that was just an undeterministic test, which is annoying, I think. So, shoot. I think we're getting received. I'm hoping that like the timeout's bad for some reason, but it's possible. Yeah, thanks, Adrian. Yeah, it's super hard to test a bunch of stuff because it's hard to test timeout stuff. So you get undeterministic tests. It's just super hard to avoid. Like, I like to keep it realistic, so I like to use actual timeouts instead of just like mocking timeout, you know? But you get stuff like this, which is weird. My only concern is inconsistency, yeah. All right, well, I am very happy with this. So let's just open up this here and interesting. Yeah, we're gonna open up this and we're gonna do some basic stuff here to make sure that this is my, like, okay, the test passed, the PR conversation's good, all that's good, but now we need to really know, like, I need to see it with my own two eyes that this all works the way we want it to. So if we have an input tag and we have data hyphen disabled, not data, what am I doing? Brain is turned off at the moment, sorry. Disabled, you know, we can even go further. So input disabled is equal to empty string. And let's see how this gets handled. Okay, so disabled is empty string makes it disabled. That's what I would think. And now if it's false, I want it to remove itself. No, Adrian, thank you. I am not really into data sets, I gotta be honest. I don't know if I'm a fool for saying that, but I actually much prefer a giant list of things than a big data set. Just because I'm in my tests, I just love to be explicit and I don't really mind large tests. So like the less in my mind, like a data set is like programming, but I do get it. I really do understand it. And I realize that my approach isn't perfect, but in my mind, that's like making programming logic for your tests, which I try to avoid. And that's just my style. So I'm not feeling the pain from it. So let's say hold off on the PR. All right, so that's what I want because that's false. That's what we want. I guess the last thing I want to do is be like bind hey to false, and that's what we want. And now bind it to an empty string, and it should be hey. Yep, and then there should resolve to hey there. Okay, I am satisfied. I think we have done a good job here. By we, I mean Hugo. All right. Explicit is greater than implicit. Yes, sometimes. Trade-off. Try Adam's ARIA attribute. Yeah, so I mean the things, I don't know if Adam's still on, but Adam, if you're still on, ARIA descending, I'm going to spell this wrong. Descendant. Yeah, so I don't see why this wouldn't work. Just like, yep. So ARIA descendant, yep. If that's set to empty string and then removed, if false, we can double check that if this is false and we refresh, I keep refreshing the chat instead, then, oh, wait a second. Why? Oh, okay. I'm seeing colon ARIA. It's removed, which is what we want. So, all right. So I think we are good, folks. Let's push up these changes. We will say, oh, we got to build here. So npm run build. Okay, we're going to run this build. and then we're going to say added tests and refactored xbind logic. I'm going to wait for that to build. We'll push it, we'll merge it, and we will be off to the races. Please don't refresh the chat. My laptop reboots every time you do that. I think you're being funny, and I think that is funny. If you're not being funny, I'm sorry. Okay. We have the build. We commit. We push. We double check that we're living here. I'm correct. Get your laptop looked at. Yeah, that's true. You've been hacked. All right. And how are we doing on time? I definitely want to be done at least with a good amount of time for you all to go to the bathroom so that you can all join Matt Stauffer's live stream. Does he live stream still, right? Like he's live streaming at 11. If somebody knows if he is or not, let me know. That's been my thing. It's like, if I'm going to do this, that's why I did this so early. I woke up and I was like, if I'm going to do this today, I got to do it before Matt streams. And so we just got to get it done. So, why are we seeing so many things? What is this? Model. Bar. Test. Model. Let's make sure. That's right. That's right. That's right. Did I introduce a regression, or did Hugo adjust this test and I missed it? It's normally 11 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, okay. Where did this come from is the question. I don't know. I'm guessing that Hugo did this, and guessing Hugo did this. All right, let's look at it. So this is X model binds checkbox value. The test failed without it. Why? Let's look at it. X model binds checkbox value. All right, so foo is true. X model is true. X bind bar. So what's the assertion here? We want it to equal true. And what was it before? It was just set. So now, yeah, interesting. So what happens if something like foo is set to true? That's an interesting question. Not this. If foo is set to true, then foo is equal to true. Yeah, that's it, right? Matt is not streaming. All right, good to know. All right, I'm good with it. I'm good. Okay, so, right, so this is something that doesn't actually have to do with X model. It's just a side effect of, yeah, whatever. I guess we're just using it to check against the value of that, which is fine. So we are all good. Finally, we're all good. I approve of this message. We are now going to merge this pull request, and we're going to thank Hugo and everyone else who weighed in. Okay. All right. We merge, we comment. There's one more thing I want to look at in Alpine while I have you all. And I don't know, I'm sure there's not a request for it, but this is another issue that Adam ran into. So let's look at it. So Adam said he had this issue with the next tick in X and init not working properly. So let's grab that. So X and init. All right. And now we're going to get back to master and pull down and get checkout -b next tick fix. Okie dokie. So let's reproduce this error in a browser first. So he's saying you have a div, x data, and then we have this x init. So he's got a value called open. So let's do that. Open is equal to true. Let me see how many people are watching this stream. I think it was a lighter crowd today. 32, not bad. All right, so open is equal to true. X init, watch open. We're watching open on X init, and the value, so when the value changes, he's doing some things. So let's say we might need him. We might need him back. Oh, there it is. refs.listbox.focus. Wondering what listbox is, but let's make it an input element. xref listbox. And if we can't clearly see an issue, I'll ping him and see if he can come on here. Does it work if you return the function from x init? Not sure. We're going to see. But good question of something to check on right away. All right. So we have watch open for value, and when value is true, so let's make this false right now. When value is true, on the next tick, we want to focus the list box. And I feel like this is going to work right away, and we're going to need him. So I'm going to message him. Button, click, open is equal to not open, toggle. And let's put this in the browser. And we toggle, and it works. Hey, working on that next tick, can't reproduce, mind hopping in the stream for a sec. Or pasting in an explicit code snippet to repro. Hopefully, all right, yeah, call for help. So let's think while we're waiting for that. How would we verify? So what is something we could do to make it so that this is broken? You know, like what is something we could do to make it so that when this runs, like it wouldn't work if next tick was too early. So let's say we get rid of next tick and get something to not work, and then add it in and see if it still doesn't work. So if value is true, then we want listbox to focus. And so something we could do is, let's say that we have like a template, and then inside here, like xif open. Yeah, this seems about right. Can you use tab index on a div? Not sure. Do I need to? I don't know why I would need to. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, I'm sure he is. I think he was building like a multi-select, so whatever. So let's say when we toggle this, yeah, what he wants to do, I know what he wants to do. Cannot read property focus of undefined. Right, because this doesn't exist yet. What he wants to do is put something that conditionally renders. So he would be like, all right, that doesn't work. So why don't we do next tick and then add the next tick in there. That's what he would be looking to do. So control what up and all right. So all right. So yeah. Damn it, Adam. Works like a charm. right? That works. Yeah. So somebody help me. You're seeing what I'm seeing, right? Like this is how it should work. Conditionally render something and then, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll make a code pen and shoot it to him and tell him that he's wrong and he needs to fix his computer. You know, when this is one of those developer or like maintainer mentalities that's like twisted. Somebody sends me a problem, you know, I'm always like, does that change anything? I doubt it would. How about X show? Yeah, I don't think it would. We can double check. Like somebody sends you an error and you're like, oh crap, my thing's broken. And you're just like hoping that it's, oh, wait a second. Are you onto something here? Oh, bingo. Oh, not bingo. Oh, that's really funny. Yeah. Oh, I keep refreshing the damn chat. Toggle. Yeah, that works. And I'm guessing it works without next tick as well. But yeah, one of those things is like you're hoping that it's them and not you. So when you get to something, I'm like, oh great, I'm glad we couldn't reproduce it. I'm glad Alpine works. Because the party is like, well, at least the happy path works. But in reality, you should be like really concerned about the edge cases. I should be like really incentivized to get to the bottom of, yeah, that seems off. But with the next tick in there, it works. Works like a glove, right? Yeah. All right, Adam's broken. We're not broken. So let's do this. Code pen it up. Pop-a-roon this in. And then we want a script tag in here. We should get Alpine on CodePen. That would be great. We need a CDN. CDN me, Alpine. CodePen, please. All right, well, let's say that this is okay. We have the script in there, toggle, and it works. Save. Okay. Great. Can he focus on hidden inputs? I just have a CodePen template bookmarked, which includes it already, and Tailwind. Yeah, that's a good idea. It's a great idea, Greg. Okay. All right, so that's a not issue sort of thing. CodePen.io pen template is my Alpine starter. Nice. So, yeah, you know what would be nice? It'd be nice if, like, how could this exist? Like, let's say that this exists. Let's just pretend that, I really don't buy this domain name, please. Please don't. I almost want to like stop the stream and go buy it because I don't think I've bought an AlpineJS domain name. Let's say like alpinesprinkles.com/pen and you hit enter and it redirects you to a CodePen boilerplate with the stuff ready to go. That would be cool. A cool pattern to see. Yeah. Okay. So let's see what the diff is, because maybe we can get that little fix tagged and then we can hop over to a Livewire issue if we have a minute. So this fix, so to tag, before I tag, I just am going to make sure that I'm going to take the most recent tag and do a diff. So I make a pull request from the most recent tag to master. I switch the base. It's taken already? Shoot. All right. So we have some other stuff in here. Let's make sure that there's let's see what the changes are. So right, the issue template that I committed, some docs changes, and then let's get out of the built files and into the files. So this is directives bind. So this is actually an important fix. And then this is an important fix. So there's a few fixes on here that should be merged and tagged. That should be tagged. Yeah. Yep. So it is time. It is time to tag. Should we tag here? Yeah, we should. Let's just do it. Let's get it done. So this is how I do it. I keep this open in one tab, and then I open up a tag. So releases, and the tagging is done, or the npm publishing is done in the command line with npm, but I'll start the tag here first. So v2.3.4, I believe, and we'll revise this before we hit publish, but because maybe it's more than a patch, but I don't think it is. So, and then I usually do this. I do added, and then I do fixed, and then that's, did someone seriously buy it? Possibly. I think I'm just screwed for the Alpine domain because I waited so long. I'm just a cotton-headed nitty muggins. Yeah, that sucks actually. I think somebody has AlpineJS.org and they sent it to me and were like, hey, as soon as you want this, you can have it. So there's always that in my back pocket, but .org is not the right domain name. Creation date. Oh, 2011. Yeah, I mean, yeah, all right. So now, I looked over the code to kind of make sure that, just to get acquainted with it. And then I look at commits, and I start with a commit. I open it in a new tab, and then I go to the pull request that it was initialized from, and understand that. So fix X on in X4 when updating. When we update an X4, if there's a new item, we are wrongly calling update instead of insert. Right. So, and then I will quickly describe the issue. Fixed X on an X forward element wasn't being registered. Fixed now. And then that's the pull request that it was fixed in. And continuing on here, those are fixed typos. And then this is that other pretty decent error here. So 424 and AlpineJS.io. Yeah, that is good. Nobody buy a domain, please. If you care about me at all, please don't buy a domain on this stream right now. I need to go on and buy a freaking domain after this. Using ViewWay to fix cursor bug on Safari. So, yes, this cursor bug is a legitimate issue, and it's a very frustrating problem. But basically, I'm going to say finally fix cursor placement bug on Safari. Back out old fixing strategy. This is something that most people aren't going to notice, but 424. All right, so Gilp doesn't respect the hustle. Yeah, I do not. Remove empty classes created by whitespace. Yes. So ignore extra white space. Ignore extra white space in class. Oh man. Class equals bindings. And this was remove empty white space created by classes 437. This was a good thing that in a class binding, if there's multiple spaces, it would create classes for those spaces, which should not have been there. And then we are down to refactor test, and then we're down to Hugo's stuff, I believe. Yep, so that's all that stuff. And now we're ready for Hugo's fix, which is the attribute binding thing. So nothing is added. These are all patches. And then this is mirror view JS's behavior for binding false, null, undefined values to attributes. And this will be our latest, Hugo's latest pull request, and then we're good. So this is 486. 486. Yep. Okay. And then we are ready to publish this release. This is 2.3.4. So publish the release. And now we're almost there. And Adam said that he's available actually. So he is either going to hand me something or come on here. So how do we do this? We tag, oh, I create this, I do this, okay. We do this, then we have to npm run build. Then we have to git commit build assets. So we do that, we build the assets. We build, we add, we git commit build assets, and then I believe we git push, and I'll let that happen, and then I'll manually do npm publish, push again, and then we'll have a tagged version in Alpine, which is great. Well, you need to rename AlpineJS. Yeah, I think you're right, Adrian. Did you check out the pen? You should have the domain on the break interval. Adam Wathen is back. Oh, he is back. Grim. AlpineJS.com was registered in January 31st, 2020. F me in the face. That sucks. Yeah, what do you want? He's so demanding. We want to know how to make that problem work. So I sent you the code pen. How to, basically we're trying to recreate this issue. What's going on here with my browser today? Super weird. .js.org domains are also fine. Yeah. Imitation is this a serious form of flattery? Thievery is not. He will make a fiddle. Okay. Need to hit the big red button. Agreed. Agreed. Fiddle me. Okay. So we are ready to rumble. Ready to rumble. One final jest before we npm run publish. Is .js a TLD? I don't know. It really should be. I haven't really seen it. Clear ls clear. Have I been doing that? We talked about that last time, right? If I've been doing it, I'm not aware of it. I just, reflex. That's funny. Did I ls clear? Okay. Great. Oh, so maybe I GS cleared there. Oh my gosh. Clear after every command or leave. Yeah. All right. So here we go. npm run publish. This feels good. We got all the fixes. Oh, just npm publish. Duh. We got all the fixes. We have the next release tagged. Great. Great, 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 great. All right. All right. Adam is making a fiddle. The new version of Alpine is tagged. So Adam, your attribute thing is fixed. That problem is solved. And Alpine is tagged and fixed, which is great. So now we are waiting on him to get us the problem back. But in the meantime, what did I want to show you guys with Livewire? Was there something that... Okay, we have a new code pen. Thank you, Brohim. Here is our code pen. Okay. This is wily. And what's the problem is the select menu popover isn't focused when using next tick. The select menu popover. Ah, so if we click this and we do our arrow keys, oh, that worked. Tailwind UI previews, yeah. Problem is the select menu popover isn't focused when using next tick. Have to use grim timeout, see right pane. It works because I'm using set timeout. Okay, gotcha. So he's saying he's using set timeout, but instead of set timeout, if we do next tick and then that, he's saying it's not going to work, right? And is there another set timeout somewhere? No. Okay. This is pretty freaking cool, by the way. I really hope this gets in there. Oh, okay. So I click this and nothing happens. So you think he's showing this on focus? What's happening on that next tick? Next tick is just focusing while you have a bug. Don't be mad. The next, this dot next tick dummy. Oh. Okay. How dare he insult me in front of my stream audience? Read the chat, Caleb. Oh. Yeah, okay. Settle down. All right, so can you share CodePen with us as well? Yes, I can. All right, so we click on this, and now focus does not work. If I arrow key through, focus does not work. Interesting. I wonder if it is maybe a transition thing. I don't know. This could be lots of things. So what are we going to do here? We got to get this locally. So maybe we create a dedicated thing for this. Yeah, let's do it. So Alpine, we're going to open up this this next tick fix thing. And then I'm going to create actually a dedicated file for this. And this is going to be select drop down, I don't know, whatever. And then inside here, all right, we get this thing, and thank you for that. And then there's our CSS. And now grab Alpine. Oh, duh. The Alpine we want is our local Alpine. Okay, and let's see if we have this working now. So Alpine examples select, what did I call this? Select dropdown.html. Select dropdown.html. Okay. Fail. Alpine must not be working at the moment. We're pulling it in, right? Dist AlpineJS /dist/AlpineJS. Here we have a console error. Components is not defined. Oh, because there's a bunch of custom JavaScript here that needs to go in a script tag. Okie dokie. So let's put that in the bottom here. Yikes. This is a hefty one. Alrighty. So there we go. Problem is that the arrow keys don't move this up and down. He had a set timeout on there. I wonder if it's a transition thing, if that select box transitions in and next tick does not work with transition durations, maybe. That's very possible. So yeah. So let's first investigate to see. So custom select, open is true, value is 4, select is 4. Look for role list box. Thanks. Role list box. All right, that's That's the stuff. Define an element that is opening and closing. Got it. So maybe there's multiple of these, or no, just one. Okay. So this is the UL that gets opened and closed. And here's the X show open. And I'm imagining that there is X transition. Yeah. And the transition is set to 100. Yeah. So no enter transition at the moment, just a leave transition. Oh, no enter transition at all. Okay, that's good. So just to make this even more sure, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of X transition completely. So like every X transition, maybe there's only one. Yeah. And let's just make sure that the transition system isn't messing with anything. Click on this and we arrow key, and I think it, next tick, it's using next tick. Ooh, and it's working, right? Click on this. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So we have an issue that even though it's a leave transition, it's somehow like being registered. I still blame you for this, to be honest. Yeah, I accept blame. I accept it. All right, so let's npm run watch, and let's take a look at the transition system. So this is interesting. This is an interesting question about next tick. So I mean, this is a bug in Alpine because there's no enter transition. Oh, he's pulling the paying customer card. Oh, he can't say that he's thrilled at the moment, right? Because he's got skin in the game now. Unacceptable. Yeah, my contracting rate is many hours a month for $100. So let's see here. Let us see here. Think. My first question is, how does next tick work with an X transition enter? Let's say that you're X transitioning an enter and it's a 100 millisecond transition. I wouldn't want to wait for the whole transition for the next tick, right? Like that. This is where transition events are helpful, so that you can hook into the states of a transition being started and finished from Alpine. Yeah, that is helpful. Yeah. So, next tick should not worry about transition at all, I would think. This is why I PR'd transition events. Yeah. Ryan is ruining the day. I told him transition events. No, I agree. I just I don't know. It's one of those things that I like really want to think about for a while first, which is why you PR'd it. Okay. Everybody's mad at me. What are we doing here? Basically, we need to get to the bottom of why having X transition on something messes with next tick at all. And it's probably because of the way that I crawl. Yeah. Sorry, Adam. It's not my fault. I tried to fix it. Yeah. So the thing is, with the current X transition strategy is that transition related registration stuff happens kind of on the next tick. I guess next tick is DOM related, not CSS responsibility then. Next tick is DOM related. Might be able to fix in userland with on transition open, on transition end. Yeah. Does that work? Is transition end a native event? Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, native event. Yeah. Actually, let's try that really quick and let's see if that does the job. So let's get back to our breaking state, refresh, and we click on this. We arrow key. Arrow keys don't work. And now where we have next tick, we are going to put a X transition, or listen for the transition end. I'm wondering if we can just do this inline here. Like, yeah, like maybe we could just on a init register a global handler. Yeah. All right. Yeah, he's saying put it on the thing. Okay, we'll do. And then this, we'll still use the ref. Yeah. Okay. So this has the things. We're gonna do at transition end. Okay. Transition and only focus if it's open. Obv. Okay. If open is true, then focus the thing. Fail. Let's see if this thing even works, because it's not transitioning on open, right? Wait a second, hold on. So I click this, then I click away. What? I saw hey on the screen. What did I do? It fired on closed but not open. That's what we would want, right? Wait a minute. What's going on here? It's not console.logging, but we saw hey on the screen, right? Everyone saw that? Let's see. Is everybody telling me what to do? Very odd. Yeah, extremely odd. Possibly Ryan. Okay, that worked. What? Oh, I wonder if it's a transition of like, just fix it, okay? All right. Oh, what in the world? So if we select below, but we select the first one again, weird. So Wade Cooper, oh, not now. Not deterministic. Okay, anyhow, this still needs to be fixed. So this isn't related to the fix per se, but this is like kind of a separate thing that I'm curious why, well, whatever. It's happening sometimes. Oh man, oh man. I'm just really curious about this right now. So really quick, I'm going to do this. We are going to document.add event listener. Not that. Transition end. And inside of here, we can just console.log. Okay. So there's lots of that happening. Oh, because there's like stuff all over the place transitioning. So it's going to give us stuff for like the focus stuff. Yeah, whatever. That's not even helpful. Okay. All right. Related? Not sure what you mean. Oh. All right. So let's get back to breaking here with the next tick, and let's start investigating in Alpine. Make sure that we're breaking. And there I am refreshing the chat 100 times. All right. Click thing, do arrow keys, does not work. Yep. So if we don't have the transition thing, we're good. If we do have the transition thing, we're bad. So let's think here. I'm going to have to reacquaint myself with some things. So in component.js, let's do, when it's doing a update, so when it's doing an update elements, we do a crawl. Update elements, we walk the DOM, and we're updating the elements as we go. And yeah, and we're execute and clear remaining show directive stack, execute and clear next tick stack. Yeah, so I have this one first and then this, and I imagine this is what's happening is inside update elements. So let's get to the bottom of that X transition thing. Resolve bound attributes, we're looking for X if. So look for if, right? Is it X shift? No, show. Looking for show. So show, evaluate return expression, we get that, and then we handle the show directive. Okay, And now inside the show directive, we look for transition stuff. We transition it every time. Transition out and transition in. And now transition out and transition in, they have their own Booleans inside of them. So let's go to transition. Interesting. Okay, so transition in, if get attributes transition, right? So it's not even, it doesn't care if it's leave. This is the problem, is that, wait a second, is it? Hold on. If this is triggered, if the modifiers include, if the show attribute modifiers include transition, this is the special case. Else if transition classes in, otherwise we can assume X transition. Yeah. Transition classes, otherwise we can assume if neither, just show the damn thing. Transition classes in, let's see what's going on here. So enter, yeah, we get these, we get enter, start, end. Now I wonder what happens if, like, these things are going to be, like, watch this. If we do, I kind of love-hate debugger statements now. If the element leaves or transition cancel fires, the event won't fire. If the element leaves or transition cancel fires. So the problem is that the element, it's like a millisecond level problem of removing the element after the transition, and something with like that, you're saying? It's pretty interesting. I have a love-hate relationship with debugger because Chrome is weird with it and like doesn't always update it as quickly. All right, so we click that. We're now inside the transition thing, and all of these enter start, enter end, and enter are going to be, so enter start, right? Enter end. These are all empty. And enter. These are all empty. Then when we go to transition classes here, we're not checking to see, yeah, we're just like adding things, you know? We're not checking to see that these, like, we could probably fix this right here if we did something like this, like if classes during, if class, like we could do dot length is equal to 0 and classes start dot length is equal to 0. This is not maybe the fix we want, but it's, you know, getting at it. It's at least like demonstrating that it is sort of fixable. So class list.add, class list.remove, right? Hook 1, hook 2. Oh my gosh. Transition classes. Right, hold on. We're confused here. Transition classes. Right, so if I return, like, bad things are going to happen, I think. Or it's just all going to break. So let's see it all break. Yeah, so it didn't all break, actually. Okay, yes it did. I try to show, and the show never actually gets shown because I'm just returning instead of actually like executing hook 1 and hook 2, and I forget what hook 1 and hook 2 do because they're called hook 1 and hook 2, like a dummy. Right, so this is the show callback and the hide callback. So in theory, this is actually what would need to happen. All right, go with me here. I know this doesn't make sense, but I just want to get this thing to kind of work. And then we can sort of dig a little bit deeper. Welcome to the transition system. Hey, it works. Yeah, that works. So what's going on here? What's going on here is that I just short-circuited. I was like, hey, if there's no transition classes for starting, just show the thing. you know? We could do this check anywhere. But the bigger question is, why does next tick not work at the right time with transitions available, you know? That's the larger question, is if you have transitions, you shouldn't, the next tick should be dependable. It should be deterministic. So in our case, these classes.add, they don't do anything because these are all empty. And so this stage, this hook 1 is the thing that gets fired. So let's go to transition and look for hook 1. Yeah, it would be nice to focus this thing after it appears, even if it transitions in. Focus this thing after it appears, even if it transitions in. Yes, and that would be those transition events. And so that's another topic. But that's true. So transition, so here we have transition, element, and stages. Stages start, stages during, and then stages show. This is where the thing happens, which is within a request animation frame, which is the reason that the next tick is not working, because if there's any transition at all, the show happens after a tick because it's in request animation frame. So the question is, one fix is to do what I did just a second ago, which is check to see if there's no classes to be added to the transition, or just basically check to see that there's no enter transition specified. And if there's no enter transition specified, just show the thing and don't put it in the request animation frame, which actually makes a lot of sense. Like that's a dependable solution. So that should exist either way, I think. And the next question is, if there is a transition, shouldn't next tick be called? Oh man, because you're not going to have a transition without a duration. So you're not going to have a transition without a duration, right? So is this the fix that we're looking for, or is there a better solution? Like, should we be deferring next tick predictably to after these request animation frames? So that would be, the next tick would actually be 2 frames out. Or, do we just do it all the time? You're on the right track. Okay, isn't hook 1 just an empty, it depends. It is sometimes. Hey, Chris, can't you focus something when it becomes available and before, can't you focus something when it becomes available and before finishes enter transition? Can't you focus something when it becomes available and before finishes enter transition? Can't you focus something when it becomes, I'm sorry, my brain's just not, I'm thinking about like 2 other things. I'm actually going to quit Telegram because normally I try to quit it before the stream, and I just realized that, like, I don't know, I should not have Telegram notifications on while I'm streaming. That's not a good idea. So that when people like trash talk Adam, when my friends like often trash talk Adam, he won't see them. You're on the right track. So Adam, if you are listening, I just closed Telegram. Can't you focus something when it becomes available and before finishes enter transition? Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to do in that 50 milliseconds. Yes, we're working on the next tick. Appreciate the work you're putting into Alpine. I've been firmly on the fence with Vue, and this is great for me. Cool. Good to hear, Chris. Oh, my Lanta. So what are we going to do here? This is a tough question. Next tick is not just a set timeout of 0. The idea is that the framework knows the next tick in the framework. And I would think, well, see, we can't defer it. Yes, we can. So basically, we kind of want to execute next tick in these stages end here. Oh, man. I think that's where other libraries use next tick. All right, right back. Don't know what I missed. What's going on with such a long work call? Haas, you have some catching up to do. I'm going to be honest. No, you might be able to jump right in, but we're scratching our heads a little bit.
I think that's where other libraries use next-tick specifically for DOM updates, but because the animations are related to CSS and not the DOM, so it would be misleading when it fires if the animation is slow. Agreed. Owen, I completely agree. Next-tick should not be dependent on transition length. 100%. The thing I'm wondering is, if a transition is specified, I don't show... I show the element or add the element one request animation frame, like one request animation frame away. And I do this because I have to call something first. I have to call stages.start first, which adds the class lists. Because first we need to add the class lists, let the timer run out, then we show the element. So I feel like if there's a request animation frame show, like we need to call next tick here instead of next tick is being called right here. You know what I'm saying? Animation duration is long. Yes, I'm not talking about, you'll see this is request animation frame. This has nothing to do with the animation length. Maybe that's a confusion point for some people. Request animation frame is basically set timeout is 0. It's just like a nice way to get a callback the next time there's an available tick for you. Set timeout, fire next tick, duration. So yeah, right, that's not what I'm looking for. Not what I'm looking for. Request animation frame is basically equivalent to this. Set timeout. Like this. I'm messing, saying wrap the firing of next tick to the same of the duration specified. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yes. So all right. Let's see. The tough thing is that in component, we do the clear next tick down here. So what happens is, let's go to update elements. We are execute and clear remaining show directive stack. Oh my gosh. And then execute and clear next tick stacks. Let's see what this is like. The goal here is to start all the X show transitions and build a nested promise chain so that the elements only hide when the children are finished hiding. Welcome to hell, folks. We've processed the handler stack. Let's clear it. Show directives, blah, blah, blah. Oh boy. Show directive stack. This is the thing. We call the thing. Oh my gosh. So it's almost like maybe we need to do something like a wait, but we're only waiting for the first half. Oh man. Execute and clear next tick stack. We basically need a way to say like, if transitioning in, then hold up until hold up for one request animation frame, then clear next tick. You know? But you know what? I am going to do that fix that I initially talked about, where if you're not specifying any classes to transition in, if you're not specifying X transition, enter, interactive, or those things, then basically I don't want to go through the transition request animation frame process at all. So we're going to do that. That's going to be our test. So let's see if we can actually get a test that does this. Transition tests are pretty rough, but let's see, like transition in, transition out. Original class attributes are preserved after transition finishes. Transition in not called when item is already visible. Transition out not called when it's already hidden. Transition with X show, and then this is, yeah, again, welcome to hell, folks. assert transition helper style attribute, and that's a helper. Okay, so what we are going to do is I'm going to duplicate this one, and let's put it maybe here. And what we're going to say is if only transition leave, if only transition leave attributes, only transition leave directives are present, don't transition in at all. If only transition leave directives are present, don't transition in at all. Yes. So we shouldn't really have to deal with, like, we basically want to make sure that there's no request animation frame stuff happening. So I think the test is actually going to be easy, I believe. So let's try this. Let's say that we have X data show is false, X on click is show not show, and then this is going to be span. Let's put this inside a template tag. Yeah, right? Do we do this? No, he had it on show. So let's say that this is leave. Yeah, maybe we start with, leave start, leave end. And then I guess we should, oh my gosh, why didn't that work? Enter, 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 leave. All right, so what we're doing here is we're saying Alpine start, and then we're waiting, expect that query selector style is equal to display none. Now we are going to button click and wait for style, for get attribute style to be null. Style to equal null. Yeah, so this is what we want basically. This is our test. This is a good test with whom I'm well pleased. All right, so just transition T, and just do up to there in case that backtick messes with things. All right, love how you check the chat to see if someone has come up with a big brainier solution. Yeah, you can see me. Yeah, yes, that is what I do. A big brainer solution. Okay, so we have failed that. Next tick is not defined. What? Reference error next tick. Oh, because I just added random stuff like a goober. Yep. Okay. Okay. So that passed, and it shouldn't have. It shouldn't have passed because I'm using request animation frame to actually execute the showing. So I'm confused why it passed. That's... Oh, right? Like this shouldn't pass because I'm using request animation frame to do the showing. So what if I... Oh, so request animation frame. Basically, I want to make sure that request animation frame is not called at all. So I want to assert that. It's basically when we see that the thing is shown, we want to expect that frame stack.length to equal 0. And this hopefully is going to fail because we need to get, yeah, okay, still checking the chat for for Brainy Solutions, and this is a little bit deeper, and I understand if everybody left. And there's still people hanging on. Valiant. Yep. All right. So timeout. Async callback was not invoked within. Yes. So we're sitting here waiting because this is not doing its thing. So what if we gotta run, Haas. Keep up the awesome work, Cal. Thanks, Haas. All right. So questions. The question is, like this is going to equal, probably going to equal 2. Yeah, but instead of this wait thing, this is why I don't like wait. It's hard to get deterministic stuff. Let's see if timeout exists here. And it doesn't. You've seen me do this before, right? Where I go and I search through every single thing for timeout because I really should just add it to the utils page so that I can just import it. But you have to watch me go through and find timeout on the tests. This is so funny because we did this last time and I told you that it's an embarrassing thing I do a lot, and now you're seeing it. Back to transition. Command Shift F. Yeah, too easy. But yeah, you're right. Okay, transition out, not transition out. Get out of here. All right, so here we're going to do a little timeout. We're going to say await timeout, and this is going to be a big timeout. I don't know. Let's make it 10. And now we expect style to equal null and frame stack length to equal 2. So that's actually not what we want our test to be, but I'm thinking this has the best chance of passing. And let's see what received display none. Interesting. But we clicked it, so it should have shown. That's curious, right? We clicked it should have shown. I don't know how request animation frame works in JS DOM. Yeah, we have to manually frame pop. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So basically this is what we can just assert on. In these tests, I have to fake request animation frame. I have to spy on request animation frame and collect those callbacks in a frame stack and then clear them. So let's see what our failure is now. We received 1. Right. So this is 1, but I need this to be 0. This is going to be our basic test. This is like the minimum. Yeah, it doesn't support request animation frame. I have to spy on request animation frame. Gertjan, you missed some things, but we're hopping around, so you shouldn't have a hard time catching back up. Does X4 has to do with next tick as well? An issue on repo is that X4 does not wait transition to end before re-render items. Not sure. It's possible. It's tough stuff. I'm just going to get past this issue for now. But, yep. All right. So we want it to equal 0. We received 1. And now we can fix this thing and at least get this thing working. Yeah. So... and I guess we would also want to do the same on transition end. So let's duplicate this and say, if only transition enter directives are present, don't transition out at all. Only transition leave directive, don't transition in at all. Right. And then don't transition out at all. Okay. And this time we're going to have all our enter directives. We have our enter directives. And now we start off as, yeah, it's false. And then we want to make sure that if this is true, right, so this is going to be true. So these assertions are just going to be switched around. I guess this will equal null, the style attribute, and then button click, then we wait, then we should get this. And we also should see the other thing because we're opting out of request animation frame entirely. So this should be this, and this should be this. So we have all of our testing set, which is really good because now we can just focus on the code. I know this is like, I think this is pretty high level stuff, so I hope that I haven't lost all of you. Ooh, that's new. Fake request animation frame in JS DOM. YouTube keeps stripping code snippets. YouTube keeps stripping code. Oh yeah. Fake request. Yes, that is what I do. All right. So I think these are good tests. I'm happy with them. So if only transition, and this is going to be what I'm going to put here. If only transition, and then hopefully it's just going to run those 2 tests. And now we have our feedback loop so that we can do some refactoring. So it's all going to happen inside of the utils thing where we do transition. So there's transition and transition in and transition out. We want to transition on the initial page load, right? We're just skipping it and showing it in force. We also want a check. If this is triggered by an XShow transition, we want a check to see get attributes transition. So if this is triggered by a show transition, else if, so this is if triggered by the show transition, and this is otherwise we can assume if attributes.length. So instead of this, we need to do attributes.filter, and this is going to be attr modifiers, right? Let's think about this. X transition, we got to look at the X transition colon. So it's not a modifier, it's like a value, right? Oh, let's see. Get X attributes is, the type is transition. The value is leave. So we're looking at value. So dot value. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Can I hold it? I think I can. So this is going to be, otherwise we can assume, so if we have enter active, enter leave, right? Is that it? Enter start, enter end. Okay, now let's rerun our test and see if that did it. My goal here was to basically filter the attributes for only ones that the value, all right, that didn't, okay, we got the first one passing, yep. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm saying like, if the current attribute is enter start, or enter active, then transition, and otherwise just show the damn thing. And then this, we're basically going to copy this for transition out. And this is going to say if leave start or leave end. We recompile, we run our test, and we will get passing. Okay, we have passing. The final check is to check this out in our browser. We're going to hard refresh and check this out. Here we go. Click. Okay, that works. And let's just double make sure that we're using the next tick. Yeah, we're using next tick. And yeah, we're using next tick and it works. Just check if value starts with. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to be explicit. You're right, but like what if we changed the name? I don't know. That is a good suggestion though. YouTube keeps stripping code snippets. Okay, so I am happy with this. We have tests. We are good to go. npm run build. We're going to build this. We're going to do a full jest run after it's built. Actually, we can do a full jest run right now, I think. Unless it's like running against the half-built assets, which is possible. Because we've been npm run watching, so we do have built assets. So making sure that all our tests pass. And we have an entire test suite passing. We have an entire build done. Okay. So I'm going to say fix. Why don't we see the IE11 version of the build? Okay, it's in there. Just need to refresh VS Code. So fix transition next tick. Yeah, that's good enough. So now if there's a transition of say 1 second, how many times does next tick run and when does it run? If there is a transition in of 1 second, even VS Code wants to drop IE, yes. So Owen, if there is a transition in of 1 second, next tick is going to run once, and it's going to run 2 frames. Actually, it's going to run like before the element even shows up, which is not ideal, but this is going to fix stuff. So it's next tick is not going to run more than once ever. So. At least I think. We're good. Legit publish. And this is it. We're going to get this thing published. We're going to tag the release and we're going to push it out there so that we can tell Adam that all of his problems are fixed. And then wipe our hands of this so I don't have to think of this right now. So let's go to Alpine and yeah, you might be like, but you just tagged a release. And I don't know. I guess I don't really mind. I think smaller releases in my mind, the better. Sometimes. Wow, 2 releases in a single stream. I know. All right, so we're just going to do a quick code review on this PR. And I'm not going to include a description or anything. And let's see. So hiding this stuff. Oh, we need to get that out of there. So let's do that. Select dropdown. Move to trash. Call this a whip. Probably should have just called it remove thing. Push that up. Okay. That's going to be removed. Utils. This is where we did the fix. And now we have our specific test for these things, which are good. The tests are good. So I'm happy with this. Let's merge this and get checkout master and git pull. Okay, run one final jest, and now we can tag this release in no time at all. 492 was the PR, so release 2.3.5. So this is going to be 2.3. Oh crap, what did I do? Did I just tag a release? Mother of pearl. What in the world? Released 16 seconds ago. What? Delete, please. Oh no, there is more work there. I should do something like this for Livewire. I spend more time on Livewire these days, and I should do something like this. Agreed. Can I please delete this tag? There's a way to do that, right? Anybody ideas? How do I get rid of this tag I just accidentally just rename the tag? Yeah, is that gonna work? Yeah, that's a good idea. Yep, that's the best idea. All right, so keyboard. Okay, it's fixed. Next tick. Elements with X transition leave and no enter transition were being shown one tick after next tick, even though there is no transition for them. This is fixed. Such high quality English. And then this is 492. And now update this release. Just rename the tag. Yes, you're right. Yeah, there's a ton of freaking work on it. Livewire. So. We are at 2.5. Let's, we ran our Jest test. We made sure that that worked. Now we bump the version to 2.3.5. We npm run build and git add period and git commit bump version and git push. So we have to wait for that to run. Then we're going to tag the release, and then we're going to be done with this. Okay, built. Now we are good to npm publish 2.3.5. Yeah, it is. Why don't I use that? I feel like that used to not work for me sometimes, so I just decided to not use it. But you're right, Adrian. Git -am. Git commit -am. All right, so we released this version 2.3.5. And now the final test is for a code pen with next tick. So let's see that. We have next tick here. And now the JS that we're depending on, we want to be 2.3.5. Okay. Is there like a save button? Close. Okay. And let's see. It doesn't work. Okay, so it works. Okay. Great. Let me fork this so that I can send this to him. All right, so that's it. We're going to call it a wrap. We fixed a bunch of stuff in Alpine and we tagged release, and that felt great. So a really productive Friday morning. It's been, what, 2.5 hours? It's been 2.5 hours? Holy crap. Yeah, still an hour till Livewire meeting, right? Still an hour till Livewire meeting. Ha, Adrian, it's funny. All right, thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for slogging through these things with me. It really helps to have people in there with me, and all the tips and all the help with the PRs and everything. Super duper appreciate. I'm not going to promise to do this every week, but it's at least in my head that like I wake up on a Friday morning and I'm like, I should stream. So probably going to happen next week, but we'll see. Talk to you all soon. I'm going to end this stream now. Thanks again.